What's going on, y'all? What's up? What's up? Welcome back. What's going on, Oak? How you doing? Let's see. Let's clean out the inventory a little before we get started. I think I'm just gonna throw everything in the stash. I keep some things on me all the time. Different boost rocks and a prop cat. Some bombers, another prop cat. But where do we want to start off? Let's start off and do at least a couple of rotations for a rock or mistamine and some corgis. We're gonna need, or I got beams already. I was gonna say we're gonna need beams for that. So let's head into Ancient Mines. We'll go a 346 start. And Dooneater difficulty, and let's get it. This one, the builds on this one last a really long time, but the waves start running really slow is the downside. And the problem is we got line of sight issues on this lane and on this lane. This lane, it's easier to address. What up, Mr. Lorenthal? This lane, it's super easy to address. This lane, not as much. And we got this big cutout here, which the enemies like to get over there. But anyway, let's go ahead and build it out. Been a while since you were able to catch a stream. It's all good. Let's see. Let's go with a gas trap there. And a gas trap there. I'm trying to keep these in a little bit, but I don't want to use just one. Actually, you know what? Can we get away with using just one? Let's try it. Let's try it with just one. I like having gas here to slow down the copters, but let's try using just one. So what would we want on our striking? We want an ensnare, an electric aura. We got a gas trap and then explosive. We can do that. Is that how we want it though? What if we put those farther over here? I'm not sure I want to have that explosive trap way up front. You know what? I'm not sure I want striking on that gas trap either. Decisions. Let's go with it right there. Do we want to route? We could go explosive trap, gas trap, ensnare, and electric aura. We could put those on the route. And then what else would we want? We want an enrage aura. We can put it back. What's the range on that look like? Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, just got mixed emotions on these gas traps. We'll get a Supreme EdE Corgi. I've actually got a Supreme version of every Corgi now, except the golden one and the EdE. God, you know, I think I want to just go 2 gas traps. But that's also part of the CC problem, or the line of sight problem over here. I mean, I could go really far back with it. Like maybe to there. And do this one like right about there. Let's try that out. And we'll buff beam it, of course. The siren we kind of want over this way. We don't want it directly behind. Because the problem is the siren bubbles are so big at 8 out of 8, and you can't use a lower quality one. That, like, if you put it dead center, mages will run inside of it. And then start doing their thing. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. I think it's around there. I don't have any of them on me. I threw them all in the bank. New Chirpy with the sub. Thank you so much. Let's just throw a couple of ups on that so we can get the rest placed. I mean, I think this looks pretty good. And then we want to go all the way as far this way as we can. For some blossoms. We're trying to avoid the line of sight problems over here. You cannot turn any rune down lower quality. That is not a thing. It's something that was discussed that that Phil might want to add that in later, but then development stopped on the game, so it never happened. Let's see, just in case there was something done that I was unaware of. Nope, there was not anything done that I was unaware of. No way to turn it down. That would be like the most used turning it down of anything that is turning it down. Okay, and then we want to say inside of the bubble here, and I think we want to go 5 beams over here. And here's where a line of sight issue comes in, so it can lead to some slow ending of waves. At the bottom of the rune screen. That is not functional, I don't believe, is it? Oh my god! Alright, well I've already got it placed now, so we're just going to leave it. I don't think it's functional though. Let me say. No, it's not functional. I didn't think so. Alright, so once again we'll go back to no way to turn it down. Let's see, where were we? It's something Phil talked about many, many times. Mildly annoyed Cloud with the sub as well. Let's see. Here, we'll check your theory. We'll go down to 1 of 8. Yeah, sure enough. I don't even think Phil knew that was functional. I mean, why you would want to turn most of these down, I have no idea, but... Alright, where were we? Oh, that must have been something he snuck into the final patch notes. Because, I mean, I remember him talking about it over and over and over again, saying he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it happen. That's definitely big, though. Alright, so we got 9 left. What do we want to do at 9? I mean, I feel like spiders are kind of a no-brainer, right? Or we could go spiders and shrooms, but I do have an enrage in already. I feel like if we do spiders, we got to come way over here. Just to make sure that that lane is going to be attackable. All right. Well, there we go. Wasn't this exact build, but very similar build to this. I was letting it run last night while I was watching some shows. And it ended up going to like 500 or in change. I don't remember exactly. From 346. Yeah, that must have been something. He probably snuck that in on the last update because no one really played it. That last update was mainly cross saves, and it, wasn't really something that people came back to the game for. That's a big part of the reason why I think it was the last update. So I bet it was snuck in there. But good to know, good to know. All right, now we want to striking buff our stack here. But we want to flash buff these. So I'm assuming we flash buff like maybe right about there. Let's see. Did that hit them all? Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it hit them all. All right, let's see how it goes. The blossoms are just so incredibly powerful. You set them to strong, and ogres are just not going to be a problem. Some people have been working them into that deeper well build that I posted out that Aramir and I were working on. But when I tried to use them, they got major spider aggro, and they just got zerged by the spiders. They ended up getting destroyed before the explosive traps burned the spiders out. I'm definitely not going to grind, but I am curious to take a couple more shots at some Arcanist gloves, too. So we'll do a little of that today as well. I did it a couple last night. All the old builds still work. Now, of course, you can use towers to burn the boss, which wasn't as impactful before as it is now. But nowadays, you can completely ignore the mechanic 100% and just use towers to burn the boss. Which I'm assuming that will probably get addressed here before long. We'll take this one to say, what, 360? What's going on there, Ed? How you been? You just did 561 with the beams? I mean, the beams are the answer. There's no doubt. It's just, you got to get your placement right. I clearly had them placed at the wrong spot, and it was just causing this massive spider aggro. But the beams are definitely the answer there. Especially with moving the route back. You get free placement pretty much anywhere up there where you want. Yeah, there's a community development team now. Much smaller scale than the DD1 CDT, but it's a start. That's the main thing. I mean, these updates didn't really add a ton yet, but it's a start. You know, it kind of opened the floodgates, so to speak, as far as getting updates. And the guys that are working on it, I mean, they're putting a lot of time into it. It is a CDT. It's a CDT that has legal loopholes to jump through. It's exactly a CDT. It's not the same. It would have been the same with the DD1 CDT, but Trendy had a tutorial agreement with Unreal Engine, and that's what allowed them to create the DDDK. It's exactly the same thing. It's just there's legal loopholes. Getting slowed way back up there now. The spider zerg is real on this map, that's for sure. Explosive trap has to put work in. There's a roadmap, but it's, you know, it's a brand new team. So it's not like, you know, I mean, I don't want to discredit the roadmap, but it's not a real roadmap. It's like it's a list of ideas. It's not an actual roadmap. Well, none of it, you know. Like I said, it's all brand new. None of it is super organized. There's not a set plan. They're kind of, you know, they're learning as they go with all the stuff. It doesn't, it's not, I mean, obviously it's 1,300 mobs. It's not a fast mover. But it's not too terribly slow now. But after 500, it gets real slow. I mean, you can still just let it run, of course, but it does just get crazy, crazy slow. I don't know what it would go to. It would be better if could fit some blossoms a little farther open. Everything resets when you do an ancient power reset. If not, it wouldn't be an ancient power reset. So yeah, everything resets. You gotta level it back up. They couldn't not make it reset. It would completely destroy the whole function. It's already super, super easy. The most challenging thing about doing AP resets in DD2 are finding something to watch on Netflix while it runs. So there's no way they could make it even more trivial than that. What's the stats on my heroes? It's pretty wide variety from, like, my lowest is probably like around 12k main stat. My highest is about 18k main stat. So it's pretty varied. My blossoms are actually not incredibly well set up. I mean, they're still decent. But, like, I'm probably, what, like 15k here? Almost 16. But I got really low substat rolls. So that's a victim of everything needs minor gear now. Because it wasn't super well thought out when they decided to start changing slots around and whatnot. Alright, I do not need all the mana. Alright. Go back to buffing. Where was it again? Like right there? Yeah, I think that's good. I'm not even sure what my best hero is right now. The problem is all those gear swaps. I mean, I would, like, have crazy, crazy, crazy stats right now if they wouldn't have done that. But it bricked a lot of stuff. The other part is the newest Arcanist piece is Guard. And Guard sets were like a hot commodity before. So a lot of people had sunk many, many thousands of hours into grinding Guard gear. And now their Guard gear is, not as valuable with the Arcanist piece. What's going on there, Cool Gamer? Just grinding out some Corgis. Might end up doing a couple of Arcanist glove runs. I did a bunch yesterday, but I only got one semi-decent piece out of, like, I want to say, like, maybe 10 or 12 kills. The RNG on those is harsh because it seems like they're guaranteed to roll fort. So if you get a 3-stat piece, it's automatically not going to have one of the stats that you want. Which kind of stinks. I got mixed emotions on these rocks. I think it's going to take about 10 million runs to actually see one of those super high-end ones. And I've got pretty good prop cats. And I've got pretty good monkey kings. So it makes the rocks so that they're not really something I'd be interested in using unless I find a crazy one. But I have yet to find a crazy one. It's the same thing with the helmet. It's always been that way, yeah. Phil was going to look at the helmets, but then the development was halted. And he never got around to it. You know, like I said, you get that rock pet in the mix on this map too, but man, after you grind deeper well a little bit for these, the blossoms have been ridiculously powerful ever since they launched. There's no change. DSTs took a hit when the speed caps were changed, or the attack rates were changed. Owls are crazy powerful. Yeah, blossoms get hit by the line of sight, but they're really, really strong. They're extremely powerful when it comes to farming the Arcanist gloves, because they basically burn the boss for you. Oh, it still is, Pro Ace. Without a doubt, the easiest survival map to clear when you're fresh breaking into a new tier. And when you're going into a new tier, you usually get just tremendous, tremendous upgrades from the start to the finish. I mean, this one's pretty smooth sailing. God, it's like watching paint dry, though. Just sitting here spamming the F key every few seconds. The mob count's fine, I think. I mean, the mob counts are nothing compared to what DD1 is. I mean, you try a moon-based mix mode in DD1, you're going to have 12,000 mob lanes or waves. Yeah, that's what I do too when I'm not streaming there, Robert. Like if I'm AFK watching a show or something. I'm not going to do that while I'm streaming though. See, that Sharkin is in that line of sight spot, I think. Yep. So the Blossoms couldn't hit him because he was here. And we get the line of sight issue here. If we could put another Blossom like here, pointed down that way, that would resolve that issue. In fact, we could move this 2-pack over here, but then we're going to have to come up with some reflect beams too. Do we just do it? Let's just do it. Let's get the wave 350 with what I know works before we risk failure. See, we don't need the buff beams on the spiders. So that's 3DU right there for reflex. I didn't, man. Doctors are such horse shit. No matter what happens, if you have something major done at a doctor, they are always going to turn it into an endless loop of, we need to do more tests and see you again in 2 months or 3 months or whatever. So now, granted, I'm not feeling a whole lot better. But we already know what the next option is. Like, the first option was removing the scar tissue off of my kidney. The next option is removing that kidney. They discussed this with me all year long. Yet now, I've got, next week, I'm going to get a call where they're going to schedule me another appointment where I go in for another one of those CT scans where they dump a bunch of dye in your blood and watch it go through your system. Which they probably will bump off till like February. So then I gotta wait another 2 months or 3 months or whatever before having that done. And then there will be another follow-up at the main doctor that I go back to, and they'll say, you know, okay, you know, you need to have this done now. Anyway, it's incredibly frustrating. It's been going on for, well, I mean, we're coming up on a full year that I've been going back and forth to the doctor. And I've had, you know, the surgery back in June. And they delay shit so long. Like, you know, in the U.S., you get the maximum payouts on your insurance, where in 1 calendar year, no matter what you have done, you can, you know, there's going to be a maximum amount of money you have to pay, which I'm at from my surgery. But now the year is going to swap over before they finally get another surgery or whatever scheduled, which means my out-of-pocket expense is going to completely refresh, and I'm going to have to go into a bunch of debt. It's incredibly irritating. I wasn't super optimistic, to be honest with you, because I haven't been feeling spectacular. So I assumed that there was still some issues there. But I didn't expect it to get stretched out for months on end again. Yeah, that and the dyes are hard on the kidneys. The dye that they inject to and test your kidneys are so hard on your kidneys that afterwards they give you a steroid to help your kidneys recover from it, which is probably bad for your kidneys too. So it's like I said, it's all like a endless cycle of science experiments. All right, let's see what we got. Junker. Boo. All right, we want to try moving this stack over and see if it makes the map run faster. And then we don't need that spider there. So, how do we want to do this? I mean, I feel like they have to be placed like right here. I mean, that should deal with the line of sight issue. We can go with a reflect beam like that. Hopefully we'll take care of them. And then that leaves me 5, so I can actually get a spider back down. And I could throw in 2 shrooms. Do I have room? Yeah, I can ditch this guy and put in my fused shrooms. And we can just try like a shroom there. And a shroom there maybe? That might end up getting destroyed. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know what they'll do this time. But yeah, the last time I had it done, they gave me steroids. All right. So we want to buff. We want striking here. See, and now we can't buff all of this. Our flash buff is not going to reach all of that. So I'll continue just the flash buff over here. But we're not going to get everything. Let's see. I mean, this should do a little bit better clearing that middle lane. I mean, it's eating stuff up. All these spiders is all because we all stood on top of that platform on launch day. Their answer was to spam 7 million spiders at you. Oh, look at where that sharkin died. This definitely resolved the line of sight issues. Yeah, the spiders aggro to those shrooms really hard. I'll have to move it back. Oh yeah, and DD1. It's the same composer through all of them. Dude has done an incredible job with the soundtracks for sure. Yeah, the spiders would hang out at the crystals, so you can throw an explosive trap there to blow them up. Those builds, of course, are not quite... They're great for speedrunning like mixed modes, but for trying to get these corgis, you need something a little bit more durable and CC oriented. But yeah, that new blossom placement just shredded it. We could actually move the gas trap out farther now. I had that gas trap back there because I didn't want mobs getting stunned in that line of sight area. So we can move the gas trap back out. Never played DD1. It's a masterpiece of a game. Just imagine how many people would have come back if you wouldn't have swapped those slots there, Cool Gamer. Sorry. I tried to get over it, but I'm still not over it. Because I can tell you there's like hundreds of people that would have come back and looked at the game and said no as soon as they saw that. I've gotten over 100 comments, DMs, or Twitter messages, or whatever anyway. I'm pretty confident to say, though, the player base would be at least 50% higher when you look at active players online through Steam charts. Well, that would lower the power of the blossoms, and the shrooms are not there for damage. They're there for the slow and for the enrage. I forgot to even build that one back, didn't I? I'll get it back after this wave. Or no, was it this wave where it went down? It was this wave where it went down, huh? Alright, so we'll just move it back. What happens is it just gets mad spider aggro. So we'll bring it back to, like, say all the way back there. When everything's functioning properly, though, we've got a big slow from the ensnare aura, combined with a slow that stacks on top of that from the spiders, combined with a slow that stacks on top of that from the mushrooms. So it pretty much brings most mobs to a standstill. Or damn near it, you know? Ooh, spider going down now. It was, once again, it was aggroed to the shroom is the problem. I'm gonna have to move that shroom way back too. I'll just put that shroom all the way back in front of the 3 main blossoms in the middle. They've always been cheap. I don't remember how much they cost before. Were they always 1DU, or did that go down? I'm not sure. I never really did many shroom builds. I know Aramir did a run on the keep with them back in the day. Well, it's not even that. It's past that point there, Puka. It's a matter of they have to learn how to do it. Plus, they have to see if they're able to get Xbox and PlayStation dev kits. I mean, there's a lot more behind it besides just get a full thing down. They want to do it. Not enough has changed to remake any guides, NATO. Just follow the same thing you've been doing before. 7 to 8K stats sounds like you're like in nightmare mode. So push through to be high enough level to get Massacre unlocked. Run Ancient Mine Survival. And then start collecting fusion gear after you do one Massacre survival run. Just take the best stuff you have on that survival run and slap it on your characters. That will get you up another 1,000 or 2,000. And then you can start farming up the fusion gear. So, I mean, from that perspective, it's exactly the same. You would think Xbox would. That, and Xbox has a large... I mean, obviously, it's nowhere near their console player base. But a lot of people actually play games on PC with the Xbox app. I mean, I've got the Game Pass for PC. And I don't use it often. But you would think Xbox will be the first one. PlayStation will end up being the holdout. You're playing 33 and Dark Ages on PC Game Pass? I mean, they get some good games on it. I've got the Game Pass mainly for my wife. She uses it quite a bit on the console. And then I use the PC version of it on the same account. Let's see, do I want to even bother with that? I mean, I feel like I should at least make an effort, right? I'll just throw it down way over here. I don't think the spiders will get into it now. The handheld stuff, I mean, Nintendo Switch, you got to give them props for, like, getting that kick-started, really. Ebron, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, y'all. Welcome. But yeah, I got to give the Switch kudos for, you know, taking people away from mobile phones and onto an actual console. But I feel like the Steam Deck and then now what Xbox is doing is probably going to kind of take that up to the next level. You would think that Nintendo would put together a higher end machine. But like even the Switch 2, I don't think... I mean, I don't know side by side as far as specs go, but I don't think the Switch 2 even compares to the Steam Deck. Like I said, not positive on that as far as the like the actual system specs, but no, DD1 is significantly more content than DDA. Well, I mean, if you wanted more of a DD1-like experience, you'd want to play DDA. DD2 is vastly, vastly different. Being a free-to-play game, it's packed full of microtransactions, etc. And just a very, very different gameplay experience. But, on that same note, you would get way more hours out of DD2 than you would DDA. Where is, where is PlayStation in that world? You know? Like, PlayStation has a bigger market share than, like, Xbox and Nintendo combined. But I don't think PlayStation is up to snuff compared to, like, the Steam Deck or what Xbox is doing. The PlayStation, they spending all that money on something else because they make a lot of money. Yeah, this definitely answered the problem of that line of sight issue. Nope, I lost a mushroom again, didn't I? Or no, it's showing me the X like I had lost one, but that's from before. Doesn't the Portal actually require connecting to your console? And then you're like streaming the game from your console? Or is that not how it works? I know Uzar plays on his Portal a lot. For the new pass, I've got zero hype for the new pass. It's just going to be some new cosmetics and a new pet. The Chaos 11 update, I'm hyped for. But the new pass is like nothing in comparison, in my opinion. Well, it's because I think they don't upgrade the... Like, the PSP is not up to speed as far as system specs, is it? C11 comes with that update. I mean, that's what the update is. The update's not the season pass. The season pass is what they added on top of the update to give it some monetization. I mean, the season pass is exactly that. It's a season pass. It's a way for them to grab $10 out of you and give you some cosmetics in return. Same as most games. It's anticipated to come middle December. Like early to mid-December. So like another month, it should be here. Well, I mean, I don't see why anyone would get hyped about the season pass, to be honest with you. It's a few new cosmetics and a new pet. I mean, I always get the season pass, don't get me wrong. But, like, I could care less when one, personally, when one comes out. Destiny 2 season passes are $50? Holy shit, is that real? What up, Mr. Mamby? How you doing? Good lord, man. I used to really love Destiny 2. And then there was so much hype when Bungie took the game back over. And all they did was poo all over it. I still swear it probably, as far as gunplay goes, it's got some of the best gunplay of any shooter I've ever played. The guns are all really good, really responsive, fun to use. It's similar, but there's no loot. So, Orcs Must Die is like if Dungeon Defenders was a game that you played through and not a game where you farmed loot. It's a great game, don't get me wrong. It's actually what really brought me into this genre. Well, it wasn't abandoned, it was done, is the thing. Or you mean Destiny 1? For Orcs Must Die, they just weren't live. They're not live service games. It was a game that launched, had a few DLCs, and then it was done. And they moved on to the next game. Orcs Must Die is incredibly fun. The graphics are arguably better. I really like the art style in Orcs Must Die. Yeah, there's a community development team for DDA now that's starting to work on updates for Demon Lord. There's information on everything on their Steam page and on my YouTube channel. All the stuff and things. Basically, right now, we're farming these Corgi pets, which are new. Their goal is to get it to console down the road. But remember, it's a community development team. It's not Chromatic officially developing the game. So it's guys that basically volunteer their time to make changes to the game. I think Orcs Must Die peaked at 2, personally. OMD 2 was my favorite one. OMD 2 had very unique, controllable physics, which made for, really, in my opinion, kind of an endless amount of gameplay. Like, it wasn't just you could blast these orcs back or launch them in a spring trap or whatever. You knew exactly where the orc was going to land. Or you could control exactly where they would go with, like, a wind belt. And all of that disappeared after OMD2. Plus, I liked the scoring system in OMD2. It made me want to chase high scores. That's what really drew me to action defense in general, was OMD2. Was really my first main addiction. Dungeon Defenders came later for me. Well, I mean, their goal is to do it. There are no publishers. It's just a matter of, can they get console dev kits? And then once they do, can they get an update in that will pass certification? Assuming it does. I don't know what consoles charge these days. Orcs Must Die 1 actually launched 1 week before DD1 did. So the original Orcs Must Die was the first. It's just Dungeon Defenders was the most popular. That is a real stinging thing for the old trendy guys back in the day. Because the reason Orcs Must Die got launched a week before DD1 was completely because of publishing issues and not because of Trendy themselves wanting to release the game. Yeah, I mean, they're all super fun games. No real wrong answer. Yeah, the original Orcs Must Die came before DD1. 1 week, exactly, in fact. Back in the day, when I talked to the old trendy devs all the time, I used to kind of rub that in a little bit to them. It was quite fun for me. And then OMD2 really took off. OMD2 actually sold as many copies as DD1 did. That's why I was kind of surprised they took that OMDU route next. It's because they wanted to jump into the free-to-play thing. Because that was just all the rage at the time. When the update comes, you'll be able to see them. There's no patch notes available a month before an update comes. In any game ever. I mean, Path of Exile does really good on that stuff, and they're usually only like a week before the update drops, but We 100% will see no patch notes until the update lands. Yeah, the thing that sucks for them is it was out of their control. The game was ready to go, but their publisher that they were using, that's the reason the mobile game exists, the DD First Wave or whatever, because their publisher declared bankruptcy, and it held the launch of Dungeon Defenders up in court. That's one of the reasons I think Trendy and Chromatic have never used a publisher since. It'd be a pretty big forgot how eye bleed this was, and I got it all turned down. But yeah, you were 100% right there, Brando. Massive eye bleed. I've got the stuff turned way, way down, too. How are we doing? We're doing okay. Open the TAC map and lose all FPS. Oof. Oh crap, I never checked the 355 Corgi. It's there on the ground right now. But yeah, the big draw for me with Orcs Must Die 2 was the scoring system. And once you got kind of hooked on it, it was so addicting. It was as addicting as loot grind is in DD2. Or in DD1. Or DDA for that matter. But how the scoring system worked is each combo was a multiplicative of the last. So like an 10x combo was worth 2 9x combos. An 11x combo was worth 2 10x combos as far as points go. And it made it very, very worth to chase higher combos and try to theory craft ways to get higher and higher and higher combos. We actually got the Fried Egg. I don't know if you guys remember Fried Egg. He was a big Orcs Must Die guy. Fried Egg and I got the world first recorded X18 combo. It's actually the world's second, but it's the first one on video. Took us all day. But it was all day of having a ton of fun with it. I still turn post-processing off in DD1. It was actually the first turn-off for me, especially coming from Orcs Must Die. Because Orcs Must Die has got that whole kind of Van Helsing era vibe to it. It's darker and, you know, the art style is just very darker and different. I went from that to playing DD1. It was like, oh my god, my eyes are bleeding. And I didn't play DD1 right at the beginning because of that. And then I ended up coming back to it later and got hooked on the loot grind. What do we got? That's not a bad one. But it's not a crazy good one either. What about the rock? 2 statter. Boo. Bunch of junk. We'll go to 361, and then I'll bounce out and do another map just to make it so you guys aren't staring at me in Overlord mode with attack map open all day. I can remember the first map I jumped into. I actually don't remember what map it was. I want to say it was like Servants' Quarters. And some friends of mine from the Orcs Must Die community that had started playing Dungeon Defenders 1 were running a map, and they're like, hop in here and we'll power level you a little bit. And they're like running some survival map or whatever. And I joined them, and I just couldn't believe how bright and blinding and flashy everything was. And I was like, man, I don't know if it's right for me, you know? And I went back to Orcs Must Die. And then it was after Orcs Must Die 2, I got really, really hooked on the leaderboards. And I grinded that for a while, but eventually, as with most offline games with leaderboard capability, it ended up getting overrun by cheaters. So there was just no way to compete anymore. They were going through and wiping the cheaters off like once a week. But when you're actually trying to get the #1 spot or whatever, it's always the same people. You're going against the same people, you know? And it just so happened that in the Orcs Must Die high-scoring community, the people that had those top 10 slots were all pretty awesome, and we all talked to each other. So we were competitive, but it wasn't like toxic competitiveness. It was much more community-oriented. And then after it just got tiring with the cheaters overwhelming everything, I just ended up I don't know if I switched right back to Dungeon Defenders 1 then. Probably. I didn't play Redux much. I did play through it, but I didn't play it a ton. The thing with Dungeon Defenders games is it's such a crazy, crazy grind. And no matter how you look at it, no matter how good Redux was, or is, and all that, it's still just a mod. And I didn't want to dump like 1,000 hours into a mod, into grinding in a mod. That was just for me personally. That's why I didn't really get into Redux a lot. Now I am good friends with IDHC. I have been for a long, long time, before he worked at Chromatic and all that. So I did, you know, I got it since he was the guy doing it all. I did get in and play it a bunch just because of that. Oh yeah, no doubt there, Merkham. I don't know. I use mods in a lot of games. You know, I'm not against using mods, but I just don't want to dump like 1,000 hours into a mod when you're, you know, quite possibly your 1,000 hours could end up disappearing at some point if support ever ended up going away for that mod or whatever. But, like, I really enjoy 7 Days to Die mods. I haven't played Minecraft in about a decade, but the last time I played Minecraft, it was always with heavy mod packs. In fact, I don't think I could play Minecraft without it. He actually did not just IDHC, but some friends of him as well. They made a Path of Exile type mod pack for Minecraft. I mean, we've got a mage getting uncomfortably close, but I think he's gassed right now. So he'll probably end up getting wrecked, but he is really close. He's still outside of the siren bubble, though. He just hasn't died yet. Yeah, I think the waves are just starting, like, seeing how long that mage is living. And he's finally dead. You know, then I played like a bunch of Terraria mods, mod packs, a bunch of Stardew Valley mods, 7 Days to Die. Well, you have to put something in to kill the rollers if you're trying to go completely AFK. Either aim something at its butt or use a defense that will kill them. Gargoyles destroy rollers. Harpoons with the Splody Shard destroys rollers. Lots of things will kill rollers being AFK. Terraria is an incredibly good game. That's another one where I didn't play it first just because of the way it looked. Like the first time I played Terraria, I'm like, I'm not playing this. I just wasn't into the graphics. And I was looking at the graphics 100% and not the gameplay. And there's a guy, I don't think he does videos anymore, but a friend of mine, Zeb, that used to do a bunch of Terraria videos on YouTube. He's like, dude, you just gotta play it a little longer. You didn't play it long enough to really sink your teeth into it. And he talked me into, it was like one Sunday afternoon or whatever. And he's like, look, just play it for 2 hours. Right now. Just jump back in and play it for 2 hours. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And I jumped back in and ended up playing it for like 14 hours. One of those games that once it sinks its teeth into you, you're in there for a while, you know? God, it's funny. This map, normally the problem is ogres. Ogres are just not an issue with the blossoms in the mix. Where have you been putting the blossoms on Deeper Well, Aramir? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty easy to do, for sure. Stardew Valley as well. I really, you know, I mean, it's that casual, very, very casual type game, of course, but I absolutely love Stardew Valley. They've got an update coming soon. Oh, you put them on the rail. I thought you'd put them behind the core. Yeah, see, I was putting them up behind the core, and the spiders just instantly went to them. I guess the rail's fine, because you only need them for the side lane ogres. The ogres that come from the center lanes all get wrecked. We'll get our 360 Corgi and then bail out of here and do something else. But yeah, this build, without having those blossoms moved over to the left for the line of sight, ended up going to like 520 or so for me last night. So definitely super, super effective build. Well, like I said, you either just got to set something up to kill them or kill them yourself. You know, when you see a roller coming, you know it's coming. Just go kill it. It's, you know, it takes 2 seconds or whatever. It ruins the AFK, but If you want to AFK, you got to build for it. Doing a bunch of pre-farming on Xbox. Hopefully it goes smoothly and they're able to, you know, get it out to consoles. You know, I know nothing about what all that takes, so I would imagine it will probably be quite irritating, but hopefully they're able to get it out. This is just a meat grinder, though. Holy crap. Almost there. One more wave after this one. Definitely just a creeping map. I think this is a map that's much more suitable to just go in AFK than anything else. They let UE5 touch the next DD game. I mean, they're Unreal type studio, so they no doubt will be using Unreal. Just depends on if there's UE6 is a thing by the time they get another Dungeon Defenders game going. When I went to 500 and something last night, I actually stopped the run. It wasn't, it didn't fail. So, I mean, this is just a crazy strong setup. I don't know what it would go to. It would take a pretty absurd amount of time. UE5 has an enormous amount of performance issues. Well, I mean, just there's a lot of viable stuff. Puka, just use what you like. Well, the problem is the support from Unreal goes away. You know, obviously it's still got Unreal 4 still got support, but like Unreal 3 is completely unsupported now. So, I mean, they would definitely use Unreal 5. just hopefully Unreal 5 is in a better shape place by then, because you look at like all the big games that have come out like this year using Unreal 5, so many of them have massive performance issues. I mean, what's the life expectancy? When will Unreal 6 come about? It'll probably still be a while, right? Several years, I would imagine. Yeah, but Unreal 3 is just a complete hunk of garbage compared to Unreal 4 even. You know, is the thing. Unreal 3 had the optimization, or the option for so many developers to like heavily modify the game engine, and that ended up biting them. Dungeon Defenders and Dungeon Defenders 2 is a pretty glaring example of that. You get some devs that are really into creating their own stuff to add on to the engine, and then those devs leave years later and go to another project, and it all turns into a big old train wreck, you know? All right, what do we got? Well, let's look back in Tavern. We'll auto-loot it. Looks like there was at least a godly quality EdE. Well, I mean, the right answer is they need to fix Unreal 5. Oh, it's a beater. Guard gloves with no power roll. I mean, don't even clog your inventory with that crap, right? That one's not terrible. It's probably an upgrade for somebody. It won't be a huge upgrade, but it'll be an upgrade. All right, no love. This, I think, is the best Corgi I found so far. Or no, wrong character. Oh, that's the right slot. Wrong character. I think this one. Yeah, that one's the best one I found so far. You got the spiders fixed? Nice. All right, what do we want to do? We can do an Arcanist run. I got a few Arcanist pieces. Oops. Will that show both? Yeah. I've got quite a few I trashed too. But nothing good. Everything missing. And it's that guaranteed fort roll that's killing them all. So, like, I got this one, but it's got really low passive rolls and one wrong passive skill. But this is the best Arcanist piece I've gotten so far. And like I said, I just don't want to grind. Like, I did the keep literally like 1,000 times. Not exaggerating. And I'm not really feeling like grinding out one piece of armor 1,000 times right now. You know, when another difficulty comes, then I'll be, you know, I'll be more anxious to do that. But I can show you what I've been doing anyway. It's the exact same build I used to do back in the day. The only difference is using blossoms to kill the boss instead of actually doing the mechanic. Well, see, that's the thing, is there's just plenty of stuff for me to grind right now. So we go with Ensnare Electric. Ensnare Electric. You can put the electrics up here, but I noticed that they get yoinked by Jin a little bit more often if you put them up top on the rail than if you put them down on the ground. So I've just decided to start putting them down on the ground. And then we go with what? We get a siren in here. And we'll throw down a root. We don't want the root buffed either, because we run out of... We get too many things on a buff beam, basically. And then we go with one spider and one owl. The difference is, before I used to use harpoons really heavily on this map. Throw a couple of ups on that buff beam just because I know I can, and that's it. That's all we do for the side lanes. And then we do the same thing over here. Here you don't have to worry about Jin as much, so you can put them up on the rail with a little bit safer result. And that allows you to get into these copter ogres a little bit more too. And then we're going to do the same thing. Now, the difference over here is you can put the root. The root's not going to get a lot of action versus the ground lanes. So you can put the root over here farther, and it basically stops the copter ogres. It's just a lot of CC stacked. So if you put like the root there, it's no longer effective in the ground lanes. But on the same note, you don't really need it that much. And then we go one spider. And then here we're going to be striking boosting, which also bricks the boss wave. So like during the boss wave, ogres are going to be rushing in like crazy. So when the boss goes under, rather than running around doing the mechanic, all we do is manage the ogres. But it allows you to AFK through the waves leading up to the boss wave. Throw explosive trap down. Is that all we want? I think that's all we really need, because we're gonna buff all this. Give it a buff beam. Over here. Actually, you know what? Let's put the siren in closer to the core. We can actually move that in even closer. And then we'll put a root down. And then now it's basically boss burning time. We do have there's a lot of options on setting this up. I actually, just to completely remove any chance of failure, I like doing this and putting 2 more blossoms down. And then anything that comes from here gets burned, and your only issue is center lane. So basically, you've got 1 lane to watch during that boss wave. And everything else just gets destroyed. Now, we could turn one of those around, actually. You know what? Let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try putting one... that way. That's 1 less on the boss that we might want to put down later. And then this goes over here. But what this does is it basically burns every tougher mob that's going to come out of here. Anything that makes it up from here is going to get burned by that same blossom. And then over here, we got a copter ogre lane. It burns all of the copter ogres without any problem. And then any of the tougher mobs that come down here get burned before they come over to this core. So basically, like, the hardest lane to deal with is usually right here. And it's not because this is a difficult lane, but it's because you ignore that lane. You know? Oh, I didn't turn this one the right way. Good call, good call. I like to crossfire them, just in case a spider or something comes up. So, there we go. And then now we want boss burners down, and we got 36 DU to deal with. Now you can put them right here on this ledge, but they will take a shot from the boss when he first spawns. If you don't care about that, which I don't care about that, so I'm going to throw them down here anyway. And we're just pointing all of these into the boss pit. And then we got room for more. You want to give yourself somewhere to fight the boss. So I'm going to put him over on this side, and then I'll fight the boss right here. And of course you want him to be inside of the siren bubble still. So let's go with something like that. And then that's going to leave me 10. And I think for that, we'll go a spider. Let's actually put that closer. That way we can buff it all. We'll put a spider, an owl, and then give them their unbuff beam as well. So like I said, the boss wave, we're going to have to pay attention. We can actually throw a mushroom in there too. It'll have to be on... You know what? Let's not buff it. Let's just throw a mushroom in like right here. And then all of our upgrades we want dumped into the stuff. I will hit all of the buff beams here a few times, but we want basically everything dumped into what's going to be fighting the bosses. So we want this buff beam jacked up. And we want this buff beam jacked up. And then all of the mana we get in the next waves will dump all into these blossoms here. Just to make the boss go smoother. Alright, and then we resume the position. We get our striking gemstone right here. Doesn't even matter where you buff, because you're going to be hitting the traps and auras no matter where you buff. So, I mean, you can always buff these, you can buff the owl, you can do whatever. It doesn't really matter. Actually, it looks like we got everything there by buffing, like, right by the siren. The waves don't run fast, and that's why I chose AFK over active play. Now, if you could play actively and make the map run quicker, but since I can chillax it out, And look at the difference in how fast the ogres burn. Because the blossoms just annihilate, you know? But yeah, it's just chill mode. Oh, we got a copter creeping in on that top lane. No, he did. Once we get some upgrades on that route that's over there, the copter ogres on that top side will be CC'd enough where it's not an issue. It looks like they're getting close, but where you look at, they're getting like to the center point of where that aura is, and that aura is way away from the core. So the tech map is a little bit more deceiving versus what is actually going on there. If the ogres only make it to the center of that aura, they're just a long way from the core yet, you know? DDA is more like DD1. If you liked DD1, you will likely like DDA. It's very, very different. DD2 is kind of in its own world as far as the Dungeon Defenders games. So it's very, very different than DD2. All of the Dungeon Defenders games are very different than DD2. DD2 is all about grinding crafting materials, shards, materials to upgrade your mods, etc., where DD1 and DDA are all about grinding the loot. All the power comes from the loot. Yeah, like I said, nothing quick about this build for sure, but it's also 1,600 mobs. It takes a little while to grind through them all. And then for upgrades, I usually will upgrade the far outside electric aura one time. I'll usually put a third upgrade on the outside buff beams. And then literally everything else I just pump into those blossoms that are going to be fighting the boss. And you can actually completely screw up and not even be on a DPS hero and still win. Which I learned through experience last night. I had my G macro going, and I ended up G'ing into the boss wave while I was on my summoner, and I still got the win. So we're going to throw one upgrade there. We're going to throw one upgrade on that electric aura. Same thing here. One upgrade there. One upgrade on... Oh, I never upgraded this overclock. So let's just go ahead and go 2 upgrades there, and then we want this route to be bigger. So we'll get a couple of upgrades there as well. That actually takes me out to right there. Let's go 1 more. Didn't take me much further, but it'll be a huge difference for the copters. And we'll just yoink everything else. 580 deeper well was 2 minutes. That's awesome. Moving, turning that one blossom around and pointing it up here definitely made a huge difference there. And then, like I said, we got to be careful what we upgrade. We don't want to just spam them, because we want the upgrade specifically into the boss burners. So if it's not pointed at the boss, we don't want to bother upgrading it. I can throw the change in here, I guess. Let's put it on this one. Actually, let's put one on each. And we'll go 1 up on the owl for a little more range. All right. And we sit through another wave. Luckily, you only got to do 3 waves. Where, of course, farming the corgis, you got to do 5. You can apprentice boost on this too, and it will burn the boss faster. But with my current setup, I don't have an apprentice in the deck, so I'm just going to use the monk, which is not as effective, but I still don't anticipate having a problem killing the boss. Yeah, right now there's an issue with rune drops too. Vaxel is the problem. And remember, y'all, don't go by favored map. Favored map is a trap. All runes drop everywhere in the act of their favored map. So if a rune says the favored map for it to drop is, say, Alchemical Labs, you can do any map in Act 1 and still get that rune. But right now, the problem is runes are not dropping on the ground. They're only dropping from chests. So there's basically 1 chance for you to get a rune versus any mob that's dropping. It was a crash issue that they're working on, so it will be addressed. This wave actually seems like it's going a little quicker than the last one. Probably the upgrades. I didn't think about that. We did get some nice upgrades. Blossoms eventually will get changed here, and this build will no longer be viable. But right now it is, so I am going to use it. But blossoms are not intended to do the dirty things to the boss that they do. But they currently do those dirty things, so I am using it. speeds the map up and makes it so you don't have to deal with the mechanic, which the mechanic is not tough to deal with. You just have to be on a DPS hero and make your rotations, you know. Most people grind Tornado Valley, Vaxdal for runes, but like I said, right now there's just a problem with runes dropping, period, since they're tied to the victory chest only. Alright. Now we got the boss wave, so we got to start this wave on a DPS character. I'm going to just go on my monk, which is a very hybrid, not specific DPS character. To yoink it all up, that way we can get those boss blasters upgraded. Not going to do anything else to the side lanes. Actually, we can go one more upgrade on this buff beam, since we didn't fully, or we didn't get it up to speed with what the other one was at. Fail jump. No, I already yoinked all the mana from there. There's a little trickle down here, huh? Looks like I vacuum cleanered it up. All right, and then we're gonna continue to dump into the boss blasters. Probably won't be able to get them all fully upped. Or will we? Yeah, actually got them all fully upped. So, I mean, we can just spam into the rest of them from there then. Now, how we're going to do this is we want to be inside of the siren bubble, but away from that stuff. And we're going to fight the boss right here. And then when the boss goes under, we're just going to make sure, since we don't have striking anymore on this stuff, that the ogres didn't get too uppity. In the meantime, while we're waiting for to get to that point, we're going to just shoot down that lane and sit here kind of AFK. Throw a few tower boosts in too, because why not? And then we can be on the lookout for anything that does come up with not having striking on those auras and trap. And then when they change the blossoms, the map is still going to be just easy peasy to run, because we're going to have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blossoms and 2 buff beams worth of DU to spend elsewhere. So it's going to make setting up the lanes crazy, crazy powerful. like the outside lanes. And the only difference is we'll have to run around and do the boss mechanic. So it's not really, you know, right now what we're getting with the cheesy blossoms on the boss is more of a quality of life thing than it is breaking anything. Because it's harder to maintain the lanes with all of this DUs dumped into boss killing, you know? When you get all that DU back, it makes dealing with the lanes just so much easier. Almost there. Nothing really to shoot at. I'll just keep spraying down this middle lane. This is the first run I did it with a blossom pointed to that middle lane. It actually may make it so that you no longer have to be in this area. The reason I chose to DPS the boss from over here and not over there, over there is a very safe setup point. But it's to deal with the Ogre Zerg during the boss. Which it seems like we're not really going to have to deal with. And then remember how long your monk tower boost. Like, I mean, obviously, like I said, you can burn the boss faster if you boost and DPS when an apprentice. But since I don't have one in the deck, I'm just using a monk. But you see how long the tower boost lasts? So you can place that down prior to the boss spawning, and it will stay there for a good while, you know? Oh, nice, Aramir. So we'll go at like 2 seconds and then get into position. And we'll just let the beams do their business. And yeah, we actually don't even have to worry about ogres, it looks like, because of those blossoms. And that's it. And then we loot our completely trashy pair of Arcanist gloves that refuse to roll with good stats. And then we cry about it and run the map again. What do we get? We got some guard booties. Where are the gloves? Oh, there they are. Once again, another 3-statter that's missing something. Boo! That's missing a stat, so that's Garbo. I don't like the shot on that one anyway. The bird is junk. Looks like it's all junk. Yep. 30-minute run. Now, obviously, I went a little slower walking through and talking about how to do all the things, but it's not a quick build. That is for damn sure. All right. Now, I am going to go grab a quick drink of water and take a leak real quick before we do this next one. So give me just a moment, y'all, and I will be right back. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. I am back. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've got my sister and brother-in-law coming to visit from Florida on Wednesday. And they're staying for 2 weeks. And next week it's supposed to snow every day, and they're from Florida, so I just cannot wait to watch them freaking out. Oh my God, it's freezing. Oh yeah, it's happening. Get our spider. Our L. Our buff beam. And we'll put 2 upgrades on the buff beam. Keep dying with no chance. There's an RNG element, Jib, and it's with the ogres on the side lanes, assuming you're dying to the ogres on the side lanes. Aramir's actually working on a fix for that right now. Sith Phil with the gift subs. Thank you so much, Phil. I do appreciate it. Throw a couple of upgrades on that too, why not? Thanks an absolute ton, Phil. Our L down. I gotta remember to give it the 2 ups this time. I think that may be why the first wave got a little sketchy with the ogre. Is because I didn't give that 2 ups. Alright. Snare, electric, and splody. With a buff beam. What we put a siren in close here. A little weird, but it'll be all right. Actually didn't take any damage that time. On the beams. So I guess it's not really an issue. Maybe I've been standing too close to it previously and that's why it was a problem. Come on. What the hell, man? I got something placed wonky on that first row I put down. That's alright, we'll live. Chief! Thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it. And then we want to throw water 2 over here. And then we got our 10 left, so we go spider. Al. A buff beam and then a shroom. Did we use a shroom last time? I feel like I got 1 extra DU. Maybe we did use a shroom last time. I don't remember. Holy crap. There, Chief. Appreciated an absolute ton. Let's throw the shroom in. And then we'll do 2 casual ups into everything. And then we'll focus on the boss burners. Uh-oh. I think I upgraded something. No, it's maxed out. Alright, yeah, we're good. One day that damn worm will die. Did you try this dirty little trick there, Chief, with the blossoms pointed at the boss? So 5 of these blossoms are pointed at the boss. And we'll just buff like right about at the tree. But you'll see how dirty the boss gets treated. See, we got a hype train on Twitch as well. Thank you so much, y'all. Oh, that's what you were talking about, Aramir, with the golden kappa. That's awesome. Yeah, try this strat, Chief. So you got 5 blossoms pointed at the boss, which each eats away at the lane DU. Just got to remember it's all about the crowd. Oh, spoke too soon. It's all about the crowd control. I wasn't watching, so I don't even know what happened. Golden kappa is super rare. See, I'll pull this off. I'll pretend like I did this for Chief, who just showed up, just so he could see the build again without going back. And I will pretend like that wasn't a huge facepalm. So, electric and ensnare. Siren. Root right up the Siren's buttocks. And then Spider. And 1 owl. Two upgrades on the buff beam. Maybe I'll hit an upgrade on the Spider over here too, since since I choked on that one. And then rinse and repeat. Ensnare electric. And the sub on Twitch as well. Thanks a ton there, Chief. And then we got Spider. You know what we'll do? Why don't we do this? We'll take the Spider off the buff beam over here. And instead, on the buff beam, we don't want... we got 2 electric R's on it already. So we want to be careful how many more things we add. So we don't want the Spider to be buffed. Let's try this instead. Two ups on the buff beam. Let's also go 2 ups on the tree root. That puts our CC line at right there. So anything that hits that point should be basically slow motion. Gas traps, too, would save the day on those outside lanes. Like, if you're trying this build and you don't quite have the stats for it, throwing some gas traps over there would make a big deal. Or a big, big difference. Let's get homie moved a little closer. Try to place him a little better here too this time. And then if you're in this is a very two-player friendly build as well. If you're in a two-player group, then one person stands where I'm standing to striking these auras, and then the other person gives striking to these three blossoms, or not these three, the next three blossoms that I'm going to place, these three right here. The second person would get striking on these guys, and striking on these makes them clear those ogres on the side lanes that right now we're not really doing much with. Well, I mean, there's nothing random about it. Just got to find out what's going on. Additionally, remember that there is multiplayer scaling. So if you jump into a group of people that don't have a good track record or a good win rate, you're only making it harder for them by adding another player. Oops. Which also makes it harder for you to get your first clear. We want 3 DU there. All right, and then a last 2. One of the most common mistakes newer players make in DDA is not giving adequate crowd control. Remember, we're not using any walls here. So if we're not using any walls, we've got to be crowd controlling the enemies, you know? And then we got our 10. So we go Spider, Al, and then a buff beam. And then let's get these guys juiced. God, why am I having such a hard time targeting that? I didn't place it very well, apparently. Alright, yeah, see, we still hit something else. This one we can target directly. But, yeah, we want everything dumped into the boss burners. Alright, let's try this again. Hopefully less derp this time. I think that root should make a pretty sizable difference there. Not gonna reach everything. Close enough. See what's going on over there. It's his first copter ogre, I think. Well, the Jinn is getting all up in there too. There we go. The Jinn is down. The ground ogres are kind of a non-issue. Looks like moving that root may have potentially resolved it. Yeah, see, they're just to the halfway point of the aura, so... And then, additionally, Chief, right now, there's something going on with ogres and crowd control. So every now and then, you will get a rando ogre that just marches right through an ensnare aura at full speed. Does not have Gen anywhere near him. And the devs are aware of that, too. So they're going to look into that as well. Oh, did I place? Oh, no, they're right. They're good. I thought I placed something the wrong way there for a moment. I wish I would have saved a set of runes. I just give them to you, but I gave all of those away. I've got a few more runes I found since I came back playing, but I gave most of my runes away back like 2 years ago. And I had a lot of them. I had like 4 or 5 full sets. And I didn't keep any of them. I actually, funny story there. I actually submitted a support ticket to Chromatic and said, "What the hell, man? Where'd all my runes go?" And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Phil. Pulls up a live stream VOD of me giving all the runes away. It's like, oh, I remember that now. There's really no wrong answer there. DD1, DD2, DDA are all incredibly good games. DD1 is without a doubt the most completed, polished of the three. But they're all super fun games, so there's really no wrong answer on which one you play. You know? If you want to jump in and play around with some DDA, it's here for you. DD1, of course, is just damn near a masterpiece. And then DD2 is a great game as well. Definitely lots of hours of enjoyment available on all of them. Actually, you know what? It might be better off for the first wave dumping more upgrades into the outside lanes. Because I end up going around and like upgrading that electric car and stuff. If you did that at the beginning, it doesn't matter what wave you dump into your boss blasters as long as they're upgraded before the boss. So there's no point in spending all your upfront mana on those. DD1's an absolutely incredible game. There's no doubt. Most people would say that it's the best game of the three. But, I mean, like I said, there's just no wrong answer. They're all super fun. And all offer a good amount of gameplay compared to really most other games in 2025. If there was a downside about DD1, I would say, to me, it looks dated. But if that doesn't bother you, the experience is absolutely incredible. Oh, for sure. I mean, I've been saying it for literally 10 years now. If they would have just taken DD1, the exact game, and made it look like DD2, but everything was exactly the same as DD1, except the art style, it would have sold millions of copies. I'm confident in that. I've been telling them that for literally a decade. Yeah, I mean, the more modern games have more modern quality of life, you know? I will say with the swapping at the Forge, it's something that you very much get used to very, very quickly. So, it's definitely a negative, particularly if you come from DD2 or DDA. But on the same note, it's just super easy to get used to. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Alright, so we want one more buff beam upgrade, one upgrade on the electric, and we'll just repair that. Over here, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to give the tree another upgrade as well, or the root, just to get even more range out of it. And that's going to, it really puts a stop to those flyers, big time. Already got the mana from there, it looks like. Let's just spam into the buff beams, and then we'll individually upgrade everything else. I guess that's good. Just spam there as well. Oh, we lost something. I lost my mushroom of all things. Or did I not place it? Maybe I didn't place it. I don't know. I either lost it or didn't place it. Don't have enough resource. Oh, actually, we got some right up here. Just gonna spam that. And away we go again. Oh, I forgot to place it. I mean, not the first time. Won't be the last. The 1DU filler inner. It's not really doing much of anything. It's a slow, because I've got the rune on it. Yeah, the runes are only in chests. Like I said, I really wish, if I would have guessed that the CDT would ever be a thing. No, I'm trying, they've got Arcanist gloves in the game now, so I'm trying to get Arcanist gloves. I don't really feel like grinding this map, particularly as slow running as it is. You know, that center blossom just doesn't look like it's doing it. Or there it goes. The one that's pointed up the big stairway. It doesn't seem like it's getting a lot of action. Oh, for sure. Rune grinding is definitely super brutal. I mean, it's super brutal when they do drop. Like, just getting a rune isn't a problem then, but getting a godly version, an 8 out of 8 version, I mean, that takes a lot of time to get them all. What they should do is make those favored drops guaranteed drops. Thank you. I don't know, is there enough maps for the runes available? Does every rune have a favored map that's the same? If like a lower quality version was a guaranteed drop from the favored map, the only one that's really significant is Overdrive. The rest of them don't even matter. Just having them is good enough. Overdrive is pretty significant. Getting a higher quality version of it. I mean, that would if that was easier than fixing the crash issues, that would completely fix the problems right now. If like a low quality one guaranteed dropped out of its favored map chest. Just to get runes in people's hands, you know? Make them grind for the godly rune later, but just getting the 4 of 8 or 3 of 8 or whatever, you know, make that a little more accessible. All right, fairly smooth sailing now. Yeah, it seems like just don't spend that mana in the first wave on the boss blasters. Spend that mana on the outside lanes. Because the boss blasters are just sitting there right now. And they're getting all the mana. What's going on there, Philip? I mean, I think the big benefit there is someone, like, say it's a rune that's guaranteed to drop out of this chest, but someone is struggling to get the mapper done. They could always go back and do it on Nightmare and get a lower quality version of the rune. And then at least have the rune, you know? Let's grab everything. We'll go clockwise this time, just to throw y'all off. We're not going to do anything else to the side lanes. I mean, we can throw a couple of repairs in, but they're good. So it's all about dumping into the boss blasters now. Well, I mean, you just got to remember, like I mentioned at the start of it, this is a so I can AFK through the build. I could make this map run faster, but I just want to sit there and not do anything. You know, for lack of better words. All right, we're not going to have enough mana to get them all this time. But that's all right. We don't need a fully upped. Chaos 8 is the... Not mods. You want to make sure you have all the proper shards. Mods are still irrelevant until you get into Chaos 8. I mean, any helpful mod will help. But Chaos 8 is the first gear check in the game. Do you have the proper shards in every position? And are you using 10 out of 10 Chaos 7 gear? If not, that's where you want to go. You want to get all the shards, and you want to make sure you're using 10 out of 10 Chaos 7 gear. I mean, if you have a bunch of Defender medals, you can even buy some amps and just upgrade to Chaos 8 gear, and then that will make it trivial for you. But yeah, it's a gear check, no doubt. You won't beat it on, you know, you can easily beat Chaos 7 your first try. You easily beat Chaos 1, Chaos 3, Chaos 4 your first try. 2 and 5 are a little bit trickier. But Chaos 1, 3, 4, and 7, you're going to beat on your first try just about every time. Chaos 8, you're unlikely to beat on your first try. It's possible, but it's not super likely. And then the same goes for Chaos 9. They're on strong. Right now, the Blossoms are on strong. The Owls are on special, I believe. I think. And then the Spiders are probably on strong. Yeah, I mean that's actually quicker than normal, to be honest, Cool Gamer. Most people would not even beat it that fast. But yeah, the Petrify combo is crazy good. Particularly when going up to a new deer. Looks horrifying when you look at the attack map, but it's actually just grinding out really, really smoothly. Some mages in there. Alright, come on, Streamer Luck. I even put it in the damn title. Where is this Streamer Luck people speak of? That shit don't exist. It only exists in ARPGs if your name is Rax. Streamer Luck does not exist anywhere else. Alright, so once again, when we hit like 3 seconds, we're going to throw down our tower boost. And then we're going to come over inside of the spider, or of the siren bubble, but away from those towers. Or Rob. Well, I mean, Rob puts in stupid amounts of grind. So Rob, you can chalk it up to eventually he's going to get it, you know? Let's do an ogre check while the boss is dying off. And there we go, we win. Now let's get our crappy pair of gloves. Come on, Streamer Luck. Be there. Where are they at? I don't see them. Oh, there they are. I mean, that's my new best piece? No, it's second best. That's the second best drop I found. But that's 2 pieces out of like 15 runs. But we'll take them. Beggars can't be choosers when it comes to getting this Arcanist gear, unless you just don't care and don't use it. Now, if that would have had power and rate on it, even with the super low rolls, then I could have chalked that up to some Streamer Luck. But I think we'll throw that here. because I've got that pair on currently. So what, we lose 8 or 9 and 7. We lose 16 rate, but gain a decent amount of power and range. So yeah, let's use those there. And there we go. So sadly, I've got Inferno Traps, which suck balls, as my third. But as soon as I get a couple more minor pieces, I'll likely swap those over to the Poison Dart Tower. Just because I'm just never going to use the Inferno Trap, really. You look at the damage output. What, it's doing like 1,000,000 DPS with no buff beam. 1.1 versus, oops, let's let it reset, versus an explosive trap. That's going to do really close to similar DPS on it. But it costs 1 DU less. So going from 3 DU to 4 DU, you'd think that it would get a, what is it, 33% or 25% upgrade? You'd think it would be a 25% upgrade in damage. And it's really not. Let's look at it with buff beams too, because it may change even more with buff beams. Let's let that reset. All right, it's reset. What, like, just call it 3.5. This is going up above and dipping down below. Well, there's almost a 3.7. Call it 3.6. Let that reset. And oh my, well, what happens with a buff beam? Well, a buff beam gets more value on the explosive trap than on the Inferno. So when you look at them, they're actually relatively close to being balanced when you don't factor in a buff beam. But how often are you going to use them without a buff beam? Damn near never, you know? So yeah, there's my problem with Inferno Traps. Now, like I said, I think I'll end up moving those over to PDT just so I can play around with Darkness. Because it's the only way we can get the Darkness Trap effect through the Blinding Darts rune. So I'll probably end up swapping that up. You see, its damage is just way better than both of them. That's not being fused. Let me actually let it reset. Now, granted, it's damage when it's sitting right in front of them where most of the darts are hitting. Yeah. So that would be 8 million DPS, basically, if it was fused. But here's my minor situation. Let's look at guard. Oh, wait. There's 2 pages. Let's look at... Well, I don't have much of that either, I guess. It's the minor gear, man. So you need boots and a chest. We might switch these over right now. We lose a little bit of power, but I'd get a better defense. And boots. Do we have a usable pair of boots? Wait a minute, what was that? Got range and power on it. We'd lose a bunch if we went with that pair. No. 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 And nope. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. I do want to switch them over, though. We'll just throw that in the vault here. Bunch of junk there. We'll keep that guy. That might be an upgrade for somebody right now. What do we got? 375. 387. 374. 372. And 397. So no, that one actually can just go in the vault too. All right, Chief. Well, have a good one, man. Good luck on the worm. Good luck on the worm. What time are we at? Oh, shit. It's 4 o'clock already. God dang it. Kind of want to do one more quick run. Let's go in and look at Deeper Well. $346, Dune Eater. All right, how do we want to do this? I think we go... Let's go Ensnare. Electric. Let's go with a Strength Drain, too, because I got that fused now. So we'll get the explosions in there. Now I can throw one more thing on the Striking Gemstone. I kind of want it to be an explosive trap. Let's actually do that. Explosive trap there. Now off of the... How do we want to do this? I don't want to brick my buff beam, basically. What else did we need still? We still need a gas trap. We still need a rage aura. Let's see, I won't upgrade the... Let's just put that there. Let me see, did I brick it? It should not be at 165. What if I put it here instead? $133. That's not bad. We'll take it. All right. And then what do we want? Well, we want our bubble. I think this is one of the maps where you want to turn it down. Let's take it all the way down to like 4 and see how the bubble is. We'll place that just say right there. That's pretty good. I like it. And then we'll go spider. Spider. Now what, if we put a beam... I'm unsure about putting the beam up on the rail. I mean, how do you even place it? Or do you crossfire it like that? Let's try that. And then what? We got enough for 3 owls, is it? So how do we do that? Let's go with 2 here. And say 1 there. All right, let's see how it holds up. I think 4 is fine. The only problem is some of the ground ogres make it up onto the stair here, and if you've got it at 8, that bubble comes over into the stair. So I haven't really had an issue with it, but theoretically it could throw. Nothing's going to be able to get inside of it there, though, except spiders. And they would have to creep way up in here. I'm almost wondering, too, if you got rid of those 3 owls, you could put 2 more blossoms in. Is it worth going 2 more blossoms over the owls? Alright, we got our explosive trap hit. Strength drain and snare and electric are all the way up to the spawn. So let's see how it's going to go. No on the blossoms. Oh, the dark elves, yeah. Damn dark elves getting all uppity all the time. See how it looks. Oh yeah, see the side lane ogres are dying way out there. Let's see this one. Look at that dude Zerg, man. He is ignoring a strength drain aura, and there's not a Jinn anywhere near him. That's a problem. Or ignoring the snare aura, pardon me. The main benefit you get on this map is the waves just run so fast with the low mob counts. Even wave 600 was around 2 minutes. Yeah, it's crazy good. Uh-oh. This looks like a problem. Normally the ogres from down there get burned, but I usually have more than 3 owls. Die already. Oof, butt clencher. Nope. I'm stuck on this screen now. God dang it. Oh, there we go. So definitely something a little bit off there. And it's usually, ogres from down here usually never have a problem. Well, crossing them gives them more area of effect is the thing. Now, I could focus them more on the core. What I tried the first time was putting them behind. That would be the perfect way, is to put them back here, where they got the whole lane. But the spiders just all aggroed to them and went and killed them, like, right away. But, I mean, that would, like, really solve things if you could put them back here. I don't know, what do you get rid of to get more owls? And like on that one, I don't feel like the enrage was really working. I could get rid of the strength drain, I guess. It's only 10% damage. The explosion is nice, but the area on it is so small, you know, from the rune. Most people use strength drain auras specifically because of this rune. And on paper, that rune looks crazy. The enrage kind of makes the setup. Enrage would be required, I think. The strength drain aura is not doing much. The only thing the strength drain is doing really consistently is giving me armor stripping, which it's only 10%. But that would be 5 more DU. I mean, with 5 DU, there's a lot that could be done, you know? Are you still using mushrooms when you're using the blossoms, Aramir? Let's try one more variant. No shrooms, okay. I think, I mean, is your build 2-player required? Let's try it without the strength drain. Not sure? Did I already put it in? Oh, I did put it in Rage. I put it up there. Is that what I want? I'm not sure I want that in Rage up there. Being map wide. Alright, we still got the little bubble. Can maybe get rid of a spider, too. Or more owls. More owls are going to be more clear. Yeah, see, I mean, I guess you could put those far back. If you look at the coverage, to fully get this lower lane coverage, right at the edge of that, we're going about to the gear point on the water wheel. Like right there. But if we place it over here and we crossfire it, to get that same amount, we end up going all the way down here. So crossfiring is definitely the way. I'm wondering if we put that outside. The problem, I'm worried about the Dark Elves. But that leaves me enough for what? I could go 2. And then I could even fit mushroom in just for memes or just for lulz. It's only one extra owl though. Is that's it? Where do we put our just for lulz mushroom at? It's not fused or anything. Just throw it on the rail there. I don't know, the owls do put in serious work though, so having more owls is definitely kind of a big deal. Even though it's only one more owl, you know. I mean, I could get rid of a spider and go with even another owl, but I don't even know where I'd put it. Let me double check my targeting too. I would assume mine are comparable. My owls are in a sketchy set of gear, but they are still really decent. 17, almost 11, almost 11. Where I'm lacking is I've only got 7% defense damage. All right, let's try it again. All right, this time we got the big boy Enrage aura, which should help, but it might slow things down a little. Is my only worry. Let's give it a whirl. Oh, I didn't double check my targeting. See how long the enrages are keeping those ogres back there. They're keeping them back there a pretty crazy amount of time. They actually died to mob damage and electric Rs. Well, the owls are getting out there too. All right, here's our first side lane ogre. See, and that one is properly CC'd. So, yeah, easy peasy on that one, right? Need those kobolds to get up on that ogre and blow up. Shark can hit really hard too. Maybe I want to swap that over to fused and Ragear instead of fused Strength Drain. That would actually free up some minor gear for me, too, if I did that. What's the bonus on Fused and Rage? Is it armor stripping, too, or enemies take increased damage? I don't remember. See, that bottom side over there just get tore up. But he also got CC'd. You know, where that one that just marched down on that first run, he wasn't getting CC'd at all. And in theory, he had what, a tree, an enrage or a ensnare aura, a spider debuff. So I mean, in theory, he had a lot of stuff going wrong with him, and he still just marched right through him. And the bottom side's got one. Let's see how it does. Getting tore up, and he's turning around to fight the enraged enemies, which is exactly what we want. We'll take this one at least through 350 and see what drops. But then I am going to have to call it a day. Now tomorrow, like I mentioned, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are coming to town. And I've got a to-do list from the wife about 47 pages long. So I'll get a video done to post up tomorrow, but I won't be live tomorrow at all. I'm going to be doing unpleasant things all day. Hypnos with the follow. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Another bottom side ogre. And he's getting melted. And Dark Elf Warrior's making his way in, but yeah, I was going to say he had to have been taking a ton of damage by then. Alright. I mean, so far, so good. Seems like this is kind of an easy clap. And it was just one more owl versus what I had before. But we also haven't gotten one of the Zerging Ogres either. That just want to run down and smash. Wow, Ogre last man standing. I think the Enrage aura being map wide on the striking is pretty big too. I feel like that's just got to be up there. I mean, look at how many mobs are getting enraged and smacking on their friends. Another ogre. Looks like he's getting burned. I'm sure some variation of this build will be the build to use. Limes with the sub. Decided to jump over from YouTube, huh? Well, I do appreciate it. All right. I mean, pretty smooth, those waves. Let's check out our loot. We got a beater. No love. What about our golden bird? He's a beater too. Boo. Anyway, y'all, that playing a little DD2, so you fired up Twitch for a change. Nice, nice. Sadly, though, Limes, it is, we do family dinner Sunday night, and it is about that time. So I am going to hop off here. Now, like I mentioned, I will not be live tomorrow. The family gets here on Tuesday, or on Wednesday, pardon me. I will be live Tuesday. And then Wednesday is also the early access launch of that Moonlighter 2 game. So I will be live playing that as well on Wednesday, even though the family is here. But I've got to do the wife's to-do list tomorrow, so I definitely will not be live tomorrow. But anyway, thank you all an absolute ton for hanging out. Hopefully everyone's having a great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you guys Tuesday at the latest. We'll see. You never know. I might end up doing something later in the day tomorrow, but it's doubtful because I've got extensive... The wife's to-do list never ran out of ink. She kept writing over and over and over and over again. So I've got just an assload of stuff to do tomorrow. And some of it are big projects, like install a new hood over the stove, which means I got to get up in the attic for the exhaust and all that crap. It's just going to be not fun. But regardless, today was pretty fun. So glad I got to kill some goblins. And like I said, thanks an absolute ton for hanging out, y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Take it easy, y'all.